What was or is your motivation for practicing permaculture?
Uh, well, it's very simple. It's anger and actually fury. I
Fury
have
about
no
what?
other motivation.
Fury about?
Uh, the senseless destruction that we're visiting on the earth, and the way people in poverty and hunger are treated, the global monetary system and its ignorance, and just generally the fact that we could do so much better and we don't. We just ignore what's happening, and so I'm very angry. I don't think anything else will keep you going like I've been going, except anger.
Mm.
I haven't got any love in me at all, and I hate community. Part of the other thing makes me furious. Two things really: spiritualism, community.
Why is that?
People who talk about community want to manage other people, and people don't like being managed. And I grew up in a village, and people say that is a community. Well, it isn't. It's a lot of individuals following the rules. And spiritualism is, I find most people who are spiritual are very greedy and very avaricious and waste a hell of a lot of time. And there's another thing. Nobody deserves what they're promised by spiritual people. And some people promise them eternal life. I think it's horrific punishment for anybody, even if you've murdered a lot of people to get eternal life. But just ordinary people should never have such punishment visited on them. So I can't stand that. I avoid all religions like the plague because just the threat of eternal life's enough to put me right off.
So what's your belief? What will happen after you die?
I'm the same as Aborigines. You die. You lay down, or somebody lays you down. Flies come and lay maggots in your ears and nose and up your orifices. Maggots eat your body and crawl off and bury in the soil. And the wind blows and slowly you disappear into the surrounding country.
If you look at the development of the permaculture movement over all these years, you created the term. What's the direction it's going into, you think? And do you like that direction?
Oh, it never did have a direction. I describe what it is like as fishing. You teach a group, tell them to go teach. Off they go, they teach groups. You don't know who they'll teach. You don't know what they'll do. So they did it very successfully, and they're still doing it. So I suppose it's going on every continent. The direction it's going is towards the sea surrounding it. Then it has to stop and it's just swimming. So that's the only direction is always onwards.
Mm.
Sometimes you might have to go back a bit, but not often.
Are you happy with the state of permaculture today?
I don't have any feeling about it, but one of gratitude, because there's such a lot of people I know, because they write to me and phone me and send me messages, that are out there doing what I used to do, and I'm just grateful, that's all.
Mm. And what's your future wish? Do you have a future wish for permaculture?
That it continues and it perfects itself.
Mm.
As I see what I started as the beginning of something that should happen, it won't be me who can finish that job. I'll be dead, I'll be maggots,
How would you define permaculture to a child?
To a child. suppose the simplest thing you could say is an attempt to build a good place to live.
What's your estimation of this actual state of the Earth today, and do you believe that humanity will be changing, will be able to deal with those challenges?
Well, I agree mainly with people investigating condition of Earth, and it's pretty terrifying. The fact that Europe's so polluted is saving it from seeing the sky, because if it did, its temperature would rise not by 1 degree but 6 or 10 degrees. And instead of having a few thousand people die on a warmer day, you'll have nearly everybody dying. So if you stay polluted, you can live. If you clean up your pollution, you'll certainly die. So you're in a trap already that you can't escape from.
So would you advise people not to have children anymore?
No, why not go ahead and enjoy yourself? It's good fun having children. It's good fun getting someone pregnant. It's good fun having a kid. Have all the fun you can have. You haven't got that much time.
You created this word permaculture. Can somebody practice permaculture without ever having heard of the word, and how do you deal with it?
I did. It comes from two roots. Permanens, to persist through time, and culture, an activity that supports human existence. So put those together, it's a persistent system that supports human existence. It's what I told the child, isn't it? Making a nice place to live. We've never done that, really. Made a nice place to live. We've always destroyed things. And there's very few old systems. The Ifugao in the Philippines, been there 5,000 years on their rice terraces. You could say they've created a permanent thing, and they're still there. But I think they'll go soon. There's too many outside influences coming in. Somebody has told me their grandmother has practiced permaculture. I thought, clever woman. What he means is she grew her own plums and made her own jam and all this. And so did my grandmother, and so did everybody's grandmother who was in the country. But permaculture is something entirely different. It has to deal with the monetary and legal structure in which you're living. We set up our own legal and monetary systems. It has to deal with the efficiency of your housing and of your settlement. And your grandmother never dealt with that, I'm afraid. Nor does Mr. Holtz or whoever. They fall short of being. That's my answer to you. People who say they're practicing permaculture just want an easy way to say they can. It's laziness, sheer mental. They're not disciplined and they're mentally lazy, right?
About Fukuoka again. So you've met Fukuoka? What do you think about him?
We like each other very, very much. We walk together in, forests and things, talking to each other. And we're the same underneath. He said that. He's a little bit angrier than me, a bit older than me. I like him.
You said
I like
today...
Furuno better.
Sorry?
I like Furuno better than Fukuoka. Fukuoka basically is a scientist, philosopher. He's a biological scientist. And he's turned into a philosopher. Not a very good philosopher. And while he was doing all this, he also became a farmer. Not a very good farmer, but slowly he won out on the farm. And then his philosophy took him over, so he writes really crappy books now. Whereas I thought The One Straw Revolution was the best book I'd ever read. And I advised all governments, I reviewed it everywhere I could, and I advised all governments to print it and give it away free to farmers. Because it's the only book that sort of started to think about farming. And nobody knows what, well, everybody's missed what Fukuoka did. Fukuoka collapsed time. And, you know, if somebody says they're permaculture, like their grandmother was permaculturist, you know, what she didn't have was any subtlety that Fukuoka did have. And so what he did, instead of ploughing, planting the crop, letting it ripen, harvesting it, ploughing, putting in the next crop, he simply sowed the next crop into the mature crop of the one he sowed before. He slid time over time. So there wasn't a pause between crops. Crops went down, crops came up. Fantastic. And he's still the only person I know who includes time in every aspect of what he did. The first person to design anything in landscape was very probably a bloke called Yeomans, who set out a keyline system for catching water in landscape. There's never been a book in agriculture on design. Now, if that doesn't make the hair stand up on the back of your neck, it ought to. Every book on agriculture says, you know, round about May you plough up and put 10 pounds of seeds to the acre and keep them cultivated and take them off, you know, at the end of June. It's all, do this now, it's all one-dimensional. Permaculture is multi-dimensional, and one of the dimensions we use is time. We learnt that from Fukuoka. But Permaculture is the first book you'll ever read on design of any system. And it's about design of agriculture, design of housing, design of your financial system, design of your legal structure. And I found it extremely eerie that there was no book on the design of agriculture.
How do you think about or estimate the danger of genetic engineering and the patenting of seeds?
Well, it's a grave danger to everybody, particularly the people doing it because they get paid much too much and they eat much too much and they'll all die of heart attacks. But then we'll be rid of them. But it is part... What you're talking about is a result of a strategy applied by Henry Kissinger. And let me tell you what it was. He said, if we move food onto the commodity market and we can trade to and fro in it, we can own it because we can buy up the interest in it. And if we control food, we control anybody. We don't have to go to war or try and persuade them. We've got them by the short and furry. Further, if we can invent seeds which they can plant once but never again, then they have to buy those seeds from us always. And that's what you're talking about, I think. So you're talking about a control strategy devised by Henry Kissinger and practiced by the American government. You can decide yourself whether you'd like to be controlled or not.
So how can we deal with that danger? I mean, how can we confront it?
Oh, well, I suppose you can assassinate the American government. Well, we did, see. We were out there and we heard Kissinger. And so we all started to save seeds that were not tampered with. And we set up seed banks and seed libraries, and now we have access to more reproducible seed than ever in history, because we were frightened that Kissinger would ruin the world's food supply, and he would have without us. Some of my lady farmers in Africa grow 36 sort of sorghum and keep it all carefully separate and so on. So in the permaculture system there's more seed saved now than there ever was previously in history. So we're not worried about Kissinger, we're worried about all of you people who don't save seed. You won't survive, and you're already under the control of the American government. And we look at you and feel sorry for you. But not very sorry, because you never did a fucking thing about saving yourself. I mean, if you are sheep, you should be slaughtered, surely.
What is the situation in Australia, actually? Is there GMO food there, or how's the laws there? I don't know, I just know it about Europe.
I can speak for Tasmania. They've put a moratorium of 2 years on GMO food, and they've extended it for another 6. Other states have some states have banned it. Some crops are going on trial, some GMO crops. Mostly, they couldn't sell it. Nobody wants to buy it. So, and that actually is the whole problem. Nobody wants to buy it.
So it is labelled if it's...
No. See, and this in America it's not labelled.
No, but in Australia
and if you buy anything from America, you don't know if it's GMO or not. In Australia, there are only certain crops that are GMO. I think canola oil is one. So we never buy that because you couldn't buy any that wasn't genetically altered.
I saw this film, it's called The Future of Food, and it's about this issue, also the patenting of food, and they said that Monsanto went into government seed banks and took normal seeds, not GMO seed, but just any seed, and patented them.
That's true.
And that's true? So how about those permaculture seed banks you spoke about? Are they safe, or are they patented, those seeds?
They're ours. They're not. They can't come in and take them.
So you don't feel like I have to patent now every seed I'm saving?
No, we couldn't afford to.
Because that's what I'm worried
we looked
about,
at it,
you know,
but we couldn't afford to.
Okay. It's really expensive to do that.
Yeah, very expensive. Like it or not, GMO crops have spread, and I don't think you can find any corn anymore that isn't genetically altered, doesn't contain some of the genes that were put into corn. So the damage is done for some crops, but nobody wants to buy that stuff. Nobody conscious. If it was marked, you can't sell it. So the reason why most Australian farmers don't use GMO seed is they don't see any market for it. Quite rightly, there isn't any. As I've said to people, if I say to you, I have here seed grown with the assistance of a lot of very dangerous chemicals, and I have here organic seed, which one do you want? And I'll say, I'll take the organic seed. Only a maniac would want to eat the food produced by dangerous chemicals. On the other hand, I think that everybody who grows it should eat it, and none of them do. Neither the farmers who grow that sort of food nor the people who work amongst it eat it. They've all got home gardens. And the people who don't ask questions about it should be force-fed it, and most of them are. So luckily, the system as long as it's killing itself.
What's the plans for your personal life in the coming years?
Avoid eternal life if possible. Still stay away from anything spiritual. I'm a bit scared. The Vikings are always frightened of sky falling, and I'm like that. I'm of Viking ancestry. I'm frightened of eternal life. I might get eternal life. And whatever you do, if you do, it'd be worse than seeds and stuff. But anyhow, I think it's unlikely, and I think I just turn into maggots and crawl away, so I feel much happier about that. My plans are to try and finish writing some of the things I want to write. I don't know if I'll do it. I don't have that long, I suppose. And otherwise, live a good life, quiet life. A good life to me is having a garden and your friends and eating food that you want to eat.
Are you going to travel a lot, you think?
No, this is about finished. Probably this is my last long trip because I hated travelling and I didn't start it till I was 54. I love where I live and I felt it was a duty and I was angry. So, though I'm still angry, I think I did my duty. If any other individual does their duty as well, we'll have the whole earth covered.
Mm-hmm.
And I have students of whom I'm very, very proud and to whom I'm very, very grateful because they'll finish the job.